I did a poll recently asking if you were playing the public test server for the new Grounded Into the Wood update. As of this recording, 79% of you said no, meaning if you're watching this, there's a good chance you are waiting for the update to officially release on February 2nd. If that's the case, or even if you play the public test server, this video should benefit you. In this video, I want to share a few things that will be changing when the update officially goes live to help save you from wasting your time and resources. Before we begin, I want to thank all my channel members, especially the Overseer91, Grey Knight, and Baz channel, who along with my other channel members help make videos like this possible. Let's get started. So what I want to do is I'm going to cover 3 things that I think you should avoid doing, or if you're already doing them, you could stop doing them when you're preparing for the new Into the Wood update. So if you've not played in the public test server, like I said, most of you watching this probably haven't, since 79% of the people responding to my poll said they haven't played it. Or even if you have, you can still avoid these mistakes. So the first thing is going to be building up here by the shed area. Now, I did a video where I suggested places to build preparing for this update, and unfortunately, I was actually incorrect in my assumption that they were not going to change things. So you might have noticed that this area looks different. This rock used to be sitting up here, and you used to be able to get up here by just walking up it. Now, instead, there's a new way up here, and what you're going to do is you're going to come up here. You're actually going to have to blow a rock up here in order to open this up. But when we get up here, you're going to notice something really strange about my house that I built up on this retaining wall. So I assumed building on this retaining wall would be safe. Unfortunately, actually, when the public test server first came out, it was. Unfortunately, this giant stone here has since been added to the game, and you'll see this giant flat stone here has been added, and what it did was it made my house look like it's a little bit smaller. In fact, my house is actually half under the ground. So here's what my house currently looks like. In that previous video, you would have noticed that my house was actually twice the size of this. This is the second floor, and unfortunately what happened was when they put one of the patches out, this rock changed here, and now my house that's up here that I was using to prepare for this new update, this is my closest base up to this closest area, is now half underground. Now, fortunately for me, my bed was underneath on the first floor, and that was where my respawn point was set. So I was actually able to grab all this stuff that was down on the first floor and put it up here so I didn't lose it. Had my bed not been down there, or had that not been my respawn point, I would have lost all these resources, all these crafting stations here, and all the resources that were in the chest. And I had quite a few resources in this chest at the time, and actually some of the newer resources were in these chests as well. I think I might have since moved them to my other house, but I was basically using the first area as my main area for this base, and now you can see it is under here. So without spoiling too much, just in case you don't want to see any of the new area, I'm not going to go over there right now, but do not build on this retaining wall. You're going to notice this lamp is here. I think there was a lamp over there as well. That might have been moved. I don't even know. This area's been completely revamped. You're going to see it up here, completely changed. So I would recommend, if you did follow my advice and built a house up on this retaining wall, before you opt into the public test server or before that update goes live, make sure you adjust it and maybe move your house down onto these rocks over here, or maybe further down there. And like I said, that might not even be safe because this stuff was outside the construction tape, and it's been changed. I definitely wouldn't recommend building down there because there's wolf spiders that will wander over there. I have not seen any wolf spiders up on this rock, but that doesn't mean they won't be. But if you've built up here, I'd recommend moving it somewhere different, just because you don't want to have this happen. And like I said, had I not been able to go back down to the first floor basically what I did was I gave up and respawned down there, and I was able to move all my stuff and clip it through the map and get it. Otherwise, I would have lost all this stuff and lost all this progress that I had over here. So that's the first mistake that I would like to help you avoid making, just in case you've already made it. The second mistake I want to help you avoid making right now is trying to get a lot of crude rope. Now, depending on how far along in the game you are, you may or may not have a decent amount of crude rope. Typically, getting crude rope, you would basically pick up these plant fibers. You can pick up 3 of them and craft them in the crude rope if you just go in your inventory. So you go in your inventory, hit craft, and you can make crude rope right over here by turning 3 of them. You can also put them on the spinning wheel, and each plant fiber will turn into crude rope. But instead of doing the tedious task of running around and picking up these plant fibers, what you can actually do now is you can actually chop down weed stems as well as grass planks and put them in the grinder. So let's chop this thing down real quick. And now we chopped it down. What we're going to do is we're going to grab these weed stems. Now, prior to this update, you couldn't do this. You could only put in, I believe, clovers, sprigs, and perhaps eelgrass. You can put into the grinder. But now you can put weed stems and grass planks into the grinder. So we're going to take these over here. We're going to put them in our grinder. And what you're going to see now is if you have weed stems, you can deposit them in here. Each weed stem is going to give you 8 plant fiber. So if you put 5 in here, you're going to get 40. That's much better than running around and picking up 40 of those little plants. It's even, of course, better than getting the sprigs, which are 1 for 1, the clovers, which are 2 for 1, the eelgrass, which is 3 for 1. The next best option is going to be grass planks. So if you have a bunch of weed stems and grass planks lying around, maybe you have them in pallets, you could just put them in here. So we'll just deposit these in here. And like you said, these are going to turn into, the 4 of them is going to turn into 32. What this has resulted in is me having a lot of plant fiber. I didn't pick any of this. This was all me getting it from the putting weed stems and grass planks in there that I cleared up. Then you can, of course, put them on the spinning wheels and turn them into crude rope. So crude rope should no longer ever be a problem again. What I would recommend doing is, if you want to prepare for this, is make yourself a couple of plank pallets or stem pallets. Go around and cut up any weed stems or grass planks that you have. Or if you already have them and you're just trying to like get rid of them, don't do it. Just hold on to them, but make sure they're on a pallet, because they will despawn after 1 in-game day if you're not close by. Save those up, wait for the update to go live, then put them over here in your grinder, and what you're going to see is you're going to end up getting tons of plant fiber, and you will be able to make as much crude rope as you want. And of course, you could also use it to make the plant slurry if you have yourself some, if you have an aphid pet. So that's the mistake number 2 I want you to avoid. Don't go out and get a bunch of plant fiber and make a bunch of crude rope, because crude rope is going to be much easier to get after this update goes live. The third and final mistake I want you to avoid making is crafting globs right now. So globs, of course, are used to upgrade your weapons past level 5. We go over here to the smithing station. You'll see I have a level 5 black ox hammer. This is one of the new weapons, new tools that was added. If I wanted to upgrade it to level 6, I would have to use one of these different globs. So it's either 5 quartzite, 5 mint, 5 spicy, or 5 salt. That has not changed. The amount of globs has not changed, so it costs 5 to go to level 6, and it costs 10 to go to level 7. What has changed, however, is there is now 2 extra levels. So in order to go to level 8, you're going to need jewels. You're going to need 5 jewels for level 8, and I believe it's 10 jewels for level 9 right now as I'm recording this. These are crafted using globs and a new resource. Now, why do I recommend not doing this? Why do I not recommend upgrading to level 7? Even though the costs haven't changed, 2 reasons. Number 1, they've changed the cost of globs. Spicy globs currently in the live Hot and Hazy update cost 5. In the public test server, they only cost 4, so that's 1 less. Same goes for mint shards. Quartzite globs cost 10 currently, but in the public test server, they cost 8. And salt cost 8 currently, but in the public test server, they cost 6. So when this update goes live, these globs are going to be cheaper to craft, and that affects this twofold. You're going to, number 1, need those to upgrade your weapons, obviously, so you're going to be saving the resources, getting more globs. So I'd recommend, if you're farming quartzite, spicy, mint, or salt shards, just put them in a chest and hold them until the update goes live, or opt into the public test server if you choose to do so and craft them. But there's 2 reasons you want to do this. Number 1, like I said, the jewels are all going to cost the globs. So as you can see, each one of these costs globs to make, and you're going to need a bunch of these to upgrade your weapons level 8 and 9. Additionally, one thing they made a change for was any weapons that are above level 5. So if I go to repair this level 7 mighty crossbow, it now costs globs to repair any of your weapons that are above level 5. So anything you have right now that's level 6 or 7 is going to be more expensive. So you might want to repair them right now, leading up to this update. If you already have level 6 and 7 weapons, repair them right now, or repair them right before the update goes live, which should be next Wednesday on February 2nd. Make sure you have everything repaired, because you do not want to have to use the globs for that. And like I said, I'd recommend stocking up on the shards for it and just holding on to them, because you're going to need more of them to upgrade. If you want to get to levels 8 and 9, you're going to need more of them, because you're going to need them to repair your weapons now. So that's definitely something I would recommend doing, is holding off on crafting those globs. Now, one final thing I wanted to mention, this is not so much a mistake you can make right now that you would be unaware of, but this is more of a tip, and that is that the roly-poly armor is actually changing in the new update. So in the public test server right now, the roly-poly armor is no longer crusty. It is actually regular roly-poly armor, because they did add added normal roly-polies into the new area. There are still sickly roly-polies, but they don't drop all the resources that they used to. So they're going to stop dropping all the resources you need to make the armor. So if you would like to have a set of crusty roly-poly armor, there's 2 ways of getting it. Number 1, you can either craft it right now before you opt into the public test server or before the update goes live, or there will be a full set of it that is you can find around the map. You can find one of each of the pieces around the map in 3 different locations, and that will let you get that. But I don't know how that behaves, because I haven't used it. It may actually be like the rotten armor. It does have less defense, so you're going to see the roly-poly armor used to have 4 defense. It now has 5. The crusty armor that is laying around the map only has 3.5. So I would recommend, just if you want to have extra sets of it, just to have the crusty parts, to make sure you craft a set of it or 2, put it in an armor dummy, put it in the chest or whatever. And one thing is, if I'm not sure how this is going to work, I do believe the crusty roly-poly armor if you have it before the new update comes out, you will be able to keep it. The worst case scenario is if it transitions over and just becomes regular roly-poly armor, it'll be cheaper to craft, because as you're going to see, the new roly-poly armor costs new things. So we have lint rope and pupa leather. These are tier 3 resources that have been added to the new area that you're going to need to make this. So the roly-poly armor is more expensive to craft, and it's more expensive to repair as of right now. So if you have crusty roly-poly armor, or if you want a set of it, make sure you craft it before the update. Just put it aside, and then of course you can use this going forward. So those are the mistakes I would advise you to avoid making. Like I said, don't build up on that retaining wall. Don't build anywhere up in this new area up here, because as you can see, my house is halfway underground now. Unfortunately, I was able to get all the stuff out of it just because that happened to be my location, my spawn location. But I would not recommend, if you built anything up here, I would recommend moving anything that's important to you out of that area, because it's been completely re-terraformed. And even during the public test server, things changed, because this house here was perfectly fine. Then they put this giant stepping stone in here, and now it's halfway underground. So there's nothing I can do about that. That's one of the risks of playing the public test server. It is what it is. Again, also with the rope, I would recommend stocking up on weed stems or grass planks. Don't throw them away right now. Just put them on a pallet. You'll then be able to put them in the grinder over here and get more plant fiber than you're ever going to need, whether you need that for bandages or you need it to make crude rope. So I definitely recommend not making any of those. Don't go around collecting a bunch of plant fiber right now if you're already doing it, or if you have it, just, I mean, you can use it now. Obviously, the cost of making those things hasn't changed, but if you're in the position where you're trying to, like, you feel like you're low on it, I would just wait, because cutting down a single weed is going to give you anywhere from like 4 up to, I think, like 16 or 18 or 20 maybe weed stems, which you can then put in the grinders, and you're going to get far more plant fiber far more efficiently. And then of course the last one was going to be the globs. Do not make any globs right now, because they are going to be cheaper to make once this update goes live, most likely on February 2nd. So those are the tips I have. Those are those are the 3 big things I would say avoid doing right now, just to save you time and resources. If you found this video interesting, make sure you hit the like button and consider subscribing for more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.